everyone, welcome to LEAP 2023, the first ever interparliamentary esports tournament, which is an initiative by YB Nik, our Minister of Environment and Climate Change. Thank you so much, YB Nik, for gracing our event today. And just my first question would be, what are your thoughts about the current esports scene in Malaysia, and where do you hope to see it in the next future?
As I play some games, but I'm not much of a gamer compared to the esports participants. But what I see is that when I look at how the younger generation, they've managed to really grow when it comes to the gaming scene. Now we have what we call esports. We have, even in my own constituency, people who have successfully become professional gamers. So my whole idea is that we want to see this whole thing grow big and successfully, and that there's more direction to the scene. So there's a lot of potential. I think Malaysia can go really far.
So recently, YB Hanayo, the Minister of Youth and Sports, mooted the idea of introducing esports into the school's curriculum. So what do you think about this initiative, and where do you think and how do you think it can benefit the esports in general and even the constituents in Setiawangsa?
Yes, so I think that's pretty much goes in line with what I was saying, is that while we have various success stories when it comes to esports, but in order for us to go far, it has to be more institutionalized. Parents need assurance. Because they want to know that esports is not just something people do for fun, or because of some negative connotations to gaming and whatnot. So if we can show that direction, we can show the institutionalized approach, then we can go really far. And my argument has always been that if you take a football analogy, you have people who are very talented who come out from the streets, the villages in South America, in Africa, and they develop through the scene. But then you also have people in Europe, for example, who succeed via the academy, proper training, proper nutrition and all that from the youngest age. So if Malaysia is now more of the former, and in order to go to the latter, where there's more structure to it, I believe that what YB Hannah said is the way to go. And I also believe that we can go even further than what we have today in our sort of unstructured approach. We can go further once we have direction, once we have vision from the authorities.
So like esports is being seen as the great leveler when it comes to competition.
Yeah.
So maybe I can rephrase what you just said. Instead of relying on sending our athletes to flourish outside of the country, why don't we create an environment for them to thrive here and because every country is pretty much on the same scale right now when it comes to esports.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we've seen in other sports where certain countries have made really great strides, and some of it is very historical. I mean, you take sports like football or badminton. So whatever we've been doing in the 50 years will have an impact, right? So if you're trying to start now, it will take a lot of effort in order to catch up with the other countries. But when it comes to esports, like you said, everyone's pretty much at the same stage, every country with very small differences. So I think that's where we should focus, because we can then play catch up to it. And it is the great leveler. Some sports are being played. If in the past, when you think of gaming, people will think about you need a PC or you need a console, which is expensive. But now everyone has a mobile phone. You can play many games on mobile phones, right? And it's a big thing. So, Mobile Legends and whatnot. So it is the great leveler, and I think we should really harness that to show that, some people they may not be able to go, they may not want, or they may not be able to go to university. That's not their strength. But they may do well in gaming. And let's remember that when you talk about esports, there's a whole ecosystem to it. The programming, the design, the creative side. So it's not just playing games, but the whole ecosystem can really drive our economy towards something that is more modern and forward-looking.
So it also comes about educating not just the participants, but also their families or their parents, because most of the esports enthusiasts, they come from the younger generation. And their parents are probably from a more laid-back generation who are not very privy about this.
Yeah.
So perhaps this sort of approach can help educate them, introduce them to the realm of esports.
Yeah, so I definitely, I think it's something, and for me, like what I do with my son, as I said, I'm not much of a gamer, but I do play, for example, FIFA with him. He plays other games as well on the console, but I take the opportunity to try to understand and try to make it as opposed to just allowing him to be on his own for hours and hours and hours playing games on his own, but I also try to play games with him so that it's something that I can understand then, to a certain extent. So I think if that's how the parents approach this. Every activity, there's a positive, there's a negative. You play football, there's a negative part to it as well if it's not controlled or managed well. Similarly with gaming, if it's managed well, it can be very healthy. And this perception that you're just stuck in the room 72 hours eating chips and not drinking enough water, just Red Bull, whatever. That's a negative perception that is not really representative if you are a professional gamer, because every professional gamer needs to take care of his health, his sleep, his diet, just like any other sportsman. So they also need that discipline. So that's where people may not understand. It's not just gaming for fun like what it was, right? If you really want to go far in a professional way, they do take care of themselves very seriously. So parents, if they see that, they wouldn't be worried.
So this is a platform not just, for example, in this situation for you to get closer to your constituent in Setiawangsa, but esports in general for everyone to connect to one another.
Yeah.
So down the road, where do you hope to see Malaysia in terms of esports in the medium to the long term? I mean, just as not just as a parent, but also as someone who is within the community.
So yeah, I mean, we started this whole event, right, as with LEAP, Liga Esports Antara Parlimen, with this whole idea that I want to do something in my constituency, but rather than just being stuck in Setiawangsa, then we decided to rope in YB Shahrizan, who's the MP for Bangi. So the whole idea now is to have this interparliamentary thing. So my hope, I mean, at least at this grassroots thing, is that we will have one day, maybe not 222 parliament in the near future, but at least enough parliamentary constituencies, maybe one at least in every state. So then we can really start to grow the mass at the grassroots level, and then it can spur more activities. And other people will see the value of these competitions, and then they want to replicate. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, it's not like, we just want to do this and we don't want other people to do it. We want this to encourage more activities. It's cross-party, it's multiracial. In fact, it can even be intergenerational. Maybe one day we can even include the older games, the games from when we were growing up, 1980s, 1990s. So those things can be done to make it like really a holistic thing. You can have more of the competitive games that are really popular, and you can go professional, but even more those for fun types that's more nostalgic for our generation. And I think that's something we can be done to make this something big and fun. Just like we all know, whenever a certain day you go for Pasar Malam, so maybe one time we'll reach a time where a certain time of the year there will be an esports tournament, and everyone from maybe one day when we become grandfathers, from the grandparents all the way to the chuchu, they all look forward to it. That will be something.
Making it as inclusive as
very mainstream,
as possible,
very
mainstream, and approachable as well.
Approachable,
because we try to see it not just within the cities, but also in rural areas.
Definitely.
Okay, so that's YB Nik Nazmi. Thank you again for your time. Really appreciate his presence here and also his support for LEAP. Actually, it's his idea to begin with. So thank you again, and catch you guys soon, because we'll be talking to YB Shahrizan, the MP of Bangi, who might have something to say as well when it comes to, he challenged YB Nik for Street Fighter. So we're going to see a Street Fighter and FIFA between the two of you. So you guys who's going to win? It's your guess. So thank you again, and see you guys later.